in this tutorial video we're going to be looking at 2Design version 2. Now, as the name may suggest, this software is very good for using on 2D design. So anything that's kind of a flat object, so we're not working on 3D objects, this is more looking at designing something in a 2D. So it's very good at shapes, and we can use it for different drawing techniques. You can use it for isometric drawing and engineering drawings later on, which we will have a look at in some of the later videos. Now, when you open up this software, it's very important that you get everything set up properly, because this white space doesn't really have a proper page size at the moment. So as soon as you open up 2Design, it's very important, and I would suggest that you do this every single time, that you go to File, Print Setup, and you change it to A4 or A3 and Landscape. Click OK. It comes up saying, do you want this to match the layout for your printer? Now, it's really important that we do that, because then when we print something out, it will print out correctly. Otherwise, you can end up with some errors, and you end up with your design appearing on like 6 pieces of A4, and then you have to put them all together and your design kind of appears in the middle. So each little bit of A4 will have a different part of your design on it, which undesirable, not something we want. So just click yes on that last box, and then we have our page set up. So this white space now represents A4. Allows you to be very accurate, and also allows you to create your designs to a scale so you understand how big it's going to be. And when it prints out, it's going to be exactly the same scale and size as what you've been designing and drawing on the computer screen. So it makes it really useful for testing out designs, especially if you're using a laser cutter. It's a much better idea to print something and test it out rather than actually laser cutting more expensive material. Now we're going to have a look at the toolbox over on the left side. Now if we click on the black arrow up here, that is the select tool. Nothing to select, so it comes up saying that there's nothing to select, so we just push OK. If we click on the tool to the right of it, that is the lines tool. This is used to draw lines, as the name would suggest. So very useful for drawing shapes, objects, and all those kinds of things. So any straight lines or lines that you want to have in your design, you want to use the lines tool. Any circles, you can use the circle tool. So if you click again, first click does the center of the circle, second click does the outside of the circle. So you can choose where to put your circles. If we use the arc tool, this uses 3 clicks. So the first click, start point, second click is the middle point, and then the third and final click is the end point. So you can see that you can create different curves, and you can choose which direction your curve goes. You can go all the way around and create circles with it, but if you wanted to create a circle, it's much better and more accurate to use the actual circle tool. So the arc is more useful for if you wanted to, say, join these parts together with a curve, so you can add that nice curve between these 2 points. And you might want to do the same to this point here, for example. So very good for joining 2 parts together using curves. You've got the rectangle tool. So this is a 2-click button for this shape to work. So click once to start the shape, click again to finish the shape. So it means that you can be really nice and accurate with drawing these different objects in these different shapes. And then we've got the path tool. The path tool, you click again, and you just continuously click, and it will just follow the line to do different paths. Now say if you wanted to finish the path, what you do is just double click and it just finishes the path. So 1 click and you can just keep clicking, and each click adds another point to the line. When you add a double click, it then finishes that shape. So it allows you to create some more complex shapes. Now it's really important to pay attention to this text box up here, because it gives you tips on what you need to be doing with those tools. So if I click on the line tool, which we've just seen, it says locate start point. If you click, then have a look again, it says locate end point. So by doing that, it tells you what to do with those tools. We try it with the arc, locate first point, locate second point, locate third point. So it tells you what you need to do, and it works with every single different tool. Locate center, locate point on circle. So it allows us to follow the paths and 2 guide us through it. So locate next point, and even up there it says double left click or right click to finish. So I double left click and it's finished our shape. Now we're going to look at some of these other tools in later tutorials, but the other tool we really need to know to really get us started and just to get us going with the basics is the delete any tool. If we click that, it literally does what it says. It deletes any of the lines or shapes that you have drawn. Very useful if you want to clear the page like I'm doing now very quickly. So we clear the page nicely. But say for example we have a rectangular shape and I've got a line going through that shape. What about if I wanted to get rid of this endpoint here and this endpoint here, but I want to keep this shape and line in the middle? Well, 2D Design has a tool that allows us to do that. If you hold down the left mouse button, you get these different delete options. So we're going to use the one that says delete parts of an object between the nearest two intersections. Basically, it's going to delete from there to there because it intersects here. So click and it deletes that bit, and intersect here, click, deletes that bit. So you can delete different lines that intersect each other to get different shapes and different objects. If you had a circle shape, you might want to slice and only have a part of that circle shape to make your design work. So I might want this shape here. So if I delete these lines around the edges, it then will leave us with that part there. So it's really, really useful for us. Another thing that's really important to make a note of is that in 2D Design, yes, you can delete things. So you can go to Edit and Undo. So you can undo if you've deleted something. But if you undo, notice that it's drawn that line back. If I go back to Edit and Undo again, there is only one undo. So you cannot undo lots of different functions at the same time. So say for example, I could click and drag and select everything, and then I could press the delete key and it deletes everything. I could bring that out and undo it. Okay, so bring it all back. If I then redo that delete and then happen to draw a line, notice that if I do edit and undo again, it simply undoes the line. So you can't go all the way back to your original work. So you could do an amazing design work, delete it all by accident perhaps, and then draw another line, and then you've lost everything. You can't undo it again. So it's really important that you focus when you're using this software, because you can't undo as much as you would in a normal, more up-to-date piece of software. Now, I'm going to leave it there with that tutorial. Hopefully that gives you some ideas of how you can start with this, and when you're ready, have a look at some of the next videos to get some better ideas of what you can do with this software, and we'll be looking at how to be a bit more accurate using 2D Design in the later videos.